Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 400 of the No Sugarcoating podcast. I am so excited for today. You are in for a treat because there's some cool things that I'm going to be dropping today that you will love. So, first off, I want to celebrate this episode. I'm going to do a little celebration while we're here. This week's episode, the topics really around key hormone imbalances causing weight gain, which is huge. I see this all the time. I went through this. A lot of my clients have gone through this, and I want to really give you more insight to help you understand what could be going on for you. So that connections between your nervous system and your appetite and steps to start addressing your hormone imbalances. So we're going to dive deep into all of that today. Of course, as always, the show notes for today's episode can be found at amberapproved.ca/podcast/400. Oh my gosh, I'm just beyond speechless, to be honest with you. I'm so grateful that I've been able to record this podcast for the last 7.5 years, have not missed a weekly recording, and have consistently dropped new episodes for you each week. It is truly one of my most favorite things to do on Tuesdays, to record this and get this out to you on Sundays. Like, it is a true pleasure. I look so forward to it. It's a really a bigger expression of my heart that I'm, giving to you, and my knowledge and awareness to help you on your journey, no matter where you are. And I really hope that it's helped you on some level, regardless of what it is, inspired you, motivated you, triggered you, moved you, touched you. But I really want to celebrate this. This podcast is priceless to me. And I'm just so grateful for all of you that are here all over the world in over 88 countries listening. We've had some huge milestones with this podcast. So I want to actually thank some, people who have been assisting me with this podcast since I started it. So my podcast editor, who's all the way in the Netherlands, thank you so much for editing every episode for me. I'm just so grateful for you and how streamlined everything is. And I want to thank my team, my social media and VA team who help get these blogs and episodes up every week so that you see them and you're able to just click through and access them so easily. And I want to thank all of you who have left 5-star reviews and ratings and shared the podcast on your social media and told your friends, your girlfriends, your colleagues, your coworkers, your family members. The guys that listen to the podcast, shout out to you, because it doesn't matter what sex you are, mindset is mindset, and this stuff can really help us heal. So I'm so grateful for all of you that are here all over the world listening. I cannot express enough how much it means to me to have you here with me every week, listening, tuning in. This podcast has helped me grow. My business has helped me grow exponentially more than I could ever describe. So celebrating episode 400, whoop, whoop, and to celebrate episode 400, I want to drop a giveaway. So this giveaway is going to be available for the next 2 weeks. So you'll have from today, Sunday, February 19th until Sunday, March 5th to enter. So first of all, what am I giving away? Well, I'm giving away 3 prizes and you'll get to choose what you would like. So 3 people can win. And I'm going to be giving away your choice of 6 months free complimentary in the Body Freedom membership, which is like a $355 USD value. So that's awesome. Or you can also choose to get free access to Freedom from Emotional Eating, my 5-week self-study program to help you start gaining awareness and traction to overcome emotional eating. Or I will give you free access to all of the masterclasses that I've recorded over the last year, paid and free. So there will be 3 things you can choose from. So how do you enter? Oh my goodness, the best part. So essentially how you enter is one of the following ways. If you want to enter all of these, you can, and each one will count as an entry and you'll get more entries. So the first way that you can enter is by leaving me a review and 5 stars if you feel called and it feels resonant on iTunes or an app where you can leave a review. What do you love about the podcast? What are you learning, right? But you can leave a review and then email me at info@amberapproved.ca with the subject line giveaway entry and let me know what username you used for the giveaway and what country you're from. So that's an entry. The second way that you can enter is you can take a little Instagram story, a photo of the podcast on your favorite podcast app, or just go to amberapproved.ca/podcast/400 and take a photo of the show notes. Tag me in it, tag what you're loving about the podcast, or write about what you're loving in the podcast on Instagram. And then I'll see it. Make sure you tag me, and then I will enter you in that way as well. And then the third way is I'm going to be dropping a reel on Sunday the 19th on Instagram celebrating episode 400. So if you want to just go and share that reel right to your stories and tag me, that is another way to enter. If you want to do all three, you can enter 3 times and get 3 entries. So like I said, you have 2 weeks from the 19th to March 5th to enter. That's how you do it. All the details will be in the show notes for this week. So if you want to come forth and enter that giveaway, this is great value, then I'm really excited. And thank you again for your support. So that is that announcement. Just a friendly reminder, the coaching savings for February will expire February 28th. I have 2 spots left. So if you want to explore 4 months, 6 months, right? The savings for that is available, $1,000 off of 4 months, $2,000 off of 6 months. So you can email me at info@amberapproved.ca with the subject line Body Freedom Savings, or you can book a 30-minute Body Freedom call at amberapproved.ca. And I'm also going to be talking about some more information about Hormone Harmony, which is my 6-month group program to help you finally gain balance with your hormones, as that is now live for enrollment with only 10 spots available. And there's over $1,000 in bonuses. We have over like $600 in early bird savings, plus an additional code to save an additional 111 USD off until March 9th. So if you know that you want to come forth and you want to claim one of those spots, you want to get hormone testing, a one-on-one session with me, 6 months in a group support, learning all about your hormones and all the key root causes that are contributing to imbalance, then you will want to make sure that you come and join us for Hormone Harmony. You'll be able to go to the show notes, amberapproved.ca/podcast/400 and click through the banner there. Or you can literally just go to amberapproved.ca, land on my homepage, and you will see the beautiful banner that says Hormone Harmony, and you can click it and enter the code hormones, all caps, at checkout for that additional 111 USD off. And it's good for any of the payment plans, pay in full, split it in half, or a monthly payment plan. So I'm excited to see who comes forth for that. And I'm going to talk more about the program as we go through this episode today. So thank you for listening to my more lengthy introduction today. There's a lot to celebrate. I know some people love and don't mind long intros and some people dislike them, but hey, like, this is my show and I wanted to take some time to celebrate and let you know what's going on in my world. So if any of this is of interest to you and you want to enter the giveaway, you want to take advantage of the coaching savings, or you want to enroll early bird and get all the goodies for Hormone Harmony, then welcome, welcome, welcome. So let's dive into today's topic. So I want to talk about some key hormone imbalances that are causing, fueling, impacting your weight, fueling weight gain, maybe interfering with like your ability to lose weight. Because number one, I went through all of these, and I would say like 85 or 90% of my clients have as well. So they're very common. Unfortunately, they're not really looked at unless you're potentially taking a more holistic look at your healing and your health. And I really want to give it some attention because, like I always say in the podcast, like, weight is a protective mechanism. The body hangs on to weight when she doesn't feel safe. And a lot of this lack of safety, while it can be emotional, it can be from self-sabotage with food, too high of stress levels, right? Being overbooked, gut issues, inflammation. But hormone imbalances play a significant role in your body hanging on to protection. And one of the biggest blocks is that, of course, for a lot of us, it's hard to get the answers and it's hard to know what tests to ask for. And the doctor, refuses or puts up a fight to do half the tests. And then if they do them, they'll just scan through it and say, oh, everything looks fine. It's in your head. Oh, it's your age. Like, once you get past 25 or 30, then it's easy to gain weight. Once you hit menopause, weight gain happens. You're just like, no, that's BS. It's not age that makes it easier for your body to put on protection. It is the accumulation of imbalances that are going on inside, physically, emotionally, and energetically, your environment, right? Like the people you surround yourself with, all of that is what is contributing to the shift. And something that's so fascinating, I talked about my big upgrade, like back in October, and my gallbladder and just all these interesting things. And I've been so committed to really, like, on a deeper level, regulating my nervous system and like using my tools, my shaking, my breath, screaming into the pillow, like tapping, like if I start to feel some old remnant of some limiting belief come up, or like there's more like old emotion to work through or whatever it is. And that has like, and I haven't like, I'm like, okay, I'm at my natural set point. Like I don't need to lose any weight. And my body has released some retention and protection. And I think it was like old beliefs and stuff that was shoved down while I was self-sabotaging with food. It was a long time ago, but now with the tools that I'm using and using them on a deeper level and more meditation, things like that, like my body is just settling into another level of peace and ease and grounding. So if, you're wanting that too, I welcome you to come forth, and, there's lots of options available. Maybe I'm giving you too many options. No, like Hormone Harmony would be a great place to come and do 6 months of healing. One-on-one is great, right? Like if you're just wanting to enter the giveaway. You could win 6 months free in the membership. It's amazing. Anyways, so we see the direct connection between you think you've healed and you've cleared all this stuff out, and then you deepen your awareness around emotions, and you start deepening the kinds of tools that you're using and using them more consistently. And it's like, holy crap. Okay. The body's like, I don't need that anymore. And it's like, oh, interesting. Right. And I also am not focusing on it. Right. I'm like, okay, I don't really need to let go of any protection. I love my body, but she's like, no, we don't need this anymore. So it's like, okay, thank you. Right. So we want it to be that effortless. And for a lot of you, I know it's a huge struggle, and it used to be for me, and I used to be asphyxiated on it. And that's why I want to help give you some insights today. So without further ado, let's talk about these key hormone imbalances that could be contributing to your body hanging on to protection. I like to call it protection. You can call it weight, whatever you want. So the first one that I see is, and I've talked about this before, but repetition is everything in my opinion. So essentially, after I stopped binge eating, my cortisol was through the roof. It was 2000. It should have been about like 350. It's really high. I'm really shocked that like my health didn't decline more significantly, because I've never seen that number since I was in that myself. I've seen some elevated cortisol numbers, don't get me wrong, but yeah, it was just really, really intense. And so my cortisol got really high because I was over exercising, I was binge eating, and then I was restricting. I was overbooked, overwhelmed. I had no idea how to cope with stress in healthy ways. I wasn't feeling my feelings. I was fighting with my body, trying to force her to lose weight. I wanted such deep control for fear of losing it, right? And I wrapped my worth in how much I weighed and what I looked like versus cultivating the feeling inside. And so my cortisol went through the roof. So cortisol is your stress hormone. And during times of prolonged high stress, the stress hormone, which is your cortisol, is produced by your adrenal glands, which sit kind of mid-back. And alongside with your adrenal glands producing cortisol, you produce adrenaline, and that puts your body into fight or flight. And this fuels adrenal fatigue. The cortisol levels can get really high and you feel overstimulated. You might feel shaky. You might feel anxiety. You're more irritable. You're gaining weight in the abdomen area. You feel more puffy. You're retaining more water. You have more cravings for salt or sugar and carbs. Your blood sugar is all over the place. Your appetite levels are all over the place. Usually though, you feel more hungry rather than less, because the more spikes and drops with the cortisol, especially spikes, the bigger peaks and valleys with your blood sugar. And that is skewing your hunger hormones, which I'm going to talk about today because they're part of this whole picture. Right. And then that can trigger overeating, binge eating, you giving into more processed, refined cravings and eating more processed, refined foods. Right. And then I see this high cortisol, this adrenal fatigue or adrenal burnout, which is essentially the cortisol has been high for so long, which it's not supposed to be. It's only supposed to be high for a couple minutes. You have your stress response and then you know how to regulate your nervous system, but we haven't been taught how to do that. And unfortunately, the way that society has been set up is a very go system for so many of us. And it's really overwhelmed our bodies. And it's not supposed to be like that, but here we are. I have massive faith that things are really going to change over the next 5 to 10 years with all of that. And people are really learning that it's time to come home to their health and well-being and have that be a focus, because if you don't have that, you don't have quality of life and you deserve to have that. So that's like part of the connection to cortisol and some of the common symptoms that I see now. When your cortisol is really high or really low, right? Really low burnout means it's dropped and plummeted far below the normal range. And now your adrenal glands are so depleted and they're having significant trouble producing it. And you'll have a lot of the same symptoms, a lot of exhaustion, fatigue, afternoon energy lulls, trouble falling asleep. These are all tied to cortisol imbalances. And then if we have a cortisol issue, we start eating up and stealing other hormones to convert into cortisol. So you can end up with really low progesterone, and then your period disappears, or you can't get pregnant and your fertility is an issue. Or then it's impacting your estrogen and it's either spiking so high, and that is an easy contributor to weight gain, or it's plummeting really low. And again, it's impacting your fertility, it's giving you more PMS symptoms and cycle issues, and or it's fueling menopause symptoms. So we see how just this one hormone imbalance can have such a huge impact on everything else. And it's very rare. Like I'd say less than 5% of my clients have not had a cortisol issue when we've done testing. So it just goes to show you how unfortunately too common the stress hormone imbalance is. So it can throw off a lot of other hormones. It depletes you of your vitamin B12, which is the energy vitamin. And then you can have even more fatigue. You burn through your minerals more quickly when your cortisol is off. So then you have low iron, you have low ferritin, which is it breaks down into your iron. You have low magnesium and calcium levels. And then that contributes to fatigue, right? And depletion, like the list goes on. And so this is why it's so important to understand even just this one imbalance could be wreaking havoc on you. Gut issues can fuel cortisol issue, because if we have bad candida and poor detoxification happening via the liver and our lymphatic system is sluggish, etc., that it can all put stress on the body. If you're dehydrated, you're not eating regularly through the day, you're consuming too much caffeine, like all these things stress the body out, right? If you're on screens all the time and you're not taking a break and unplugging, which I know we can all be guilty of, right? If you're stressed out about stuff going on in the world, there is a lot going on in the world. And depending on your views and perception, with which all of it is welcome and everyone has the right to view things that they want to. But I know people who are like amped and think that like we are birthing the new earth, which I feel we are, and we have to go through some stuff to get there. And then there's people who are fearing the world is going to end and doomsday is on the way. And it's like, I just want to send you some love and reassurance that the only thing that's ending is the old ways that don't serve humanity anymore, in my opinion. And we have to like cleanse the planet essentially, right? Mother Earth is going through the biggest candida cleanse in the history of the universe. So food for thought. Anyway, if you're really stressed and worried about world stuff, try to go more inward and disconnect from it a bit, because especially if you're an empath and you're sensitive to energy, it can really overwhelm your nervous system, and then your cortisol will spike up. So if you're sensitive to energy, if you're an empath, if you feel the collective a lot, if you are drinking too much caffeine, if you are all of these things that I've been talking about, it could boost your cortisol levels up. Binge eating, binging and purging, overeating, not eating enough carbohydrates, right? Keto diets, low carb diets. We need good carbohydrates, whole foods carbohydrates, not white bread. I'm talking like fruits and vegetables, root veggies, brown rice, quinoa. Like everyone is different with if they have grains or not, but these are really nourishing and they're really important to help us regulate our cortisol. I learned that. I was not like keto, but I was minimizing my carbs because I read that they were bad, of course. And this is before I knew anything and could like discern for myself, because I was desperate to change. But it was actually making my cortisol levels worse because I was eating too much protein and fat in the morning. And so once I switched to like oatmeal with fruit and nuts and, collagen and fat and coconut oil and chia seeds, like I started to notice a shift with my cortisol leveling out even more. Because the way that I describe it, and it feels different for everyone, but I can feel when my adrenal glands start to like get stressed out, and I feel a tightness in my chest, and like my thyroid, it's almost like she gets a little bit contracted, and like I just feel like overstimulated. Like I've had the worst sleep of my life, and then like drank a cup of coffee, which I never do because I don't break down caffeine properly and I don't care for it anyway. But so it's really not a fun feeling when you have adrenal fatigue and your energy's low and you have brain fog and your memory's not working. These are not because of age, it's because of likely imbalances going on. And once you correct them and address them from the roots, the symptoms do fall away. So it's really exciting. So that's the first one. Is cortisol is usually one of the first domino effects that I see. And then we have, of course, the underactive thyroid, which is what I see most commonly. I've yet to see anyone with overactive thyroid, hyperthyroid, which is where the thyroid is functioning too it's overactive. But with hypothyroid, underactive thyroid, your thyroid gets sluggish. And so essentially what ends up happening is too much inflammation in the body, too much toxicity in the body, heavy metals, candida, poor liver function, too elevated of cortisol levels, not eating enough, eating too much processed food, too much chemical toxicity applying to your body, all the chemicals and skincare and body care and all the garbage that they put in it and then tell you that it's so good for you. Like it just pisses me off. Anyway, that's a whole other conversation. But all of this fuels inflammation, and inflammation suppresses the thyroid. And then when our cortisol levels are really high, the pituitary gland can get stressed out. And the pituitary gland is actually what produces your thyroid stimulating hormone. And the more the body is flooded with thyroid stimulating hormone, TSH, the more underactive and sluggish the thyroid gets. Your metabolism slows down, your appetite levels lower, you're not as hungry. You may lose your hunger signal fully and not ever feel hungry, or you may lose it through the first half of the day. Now, if this stuff is happening, it's not because you're not hungry. It's likely because there's some hormone imbalances going on. It's very important to investigate, because if you keep waiting to eat until noon because you're not hungry, you're slowing your metabolism down even more. And it could be making it even easier for you to gain weight and trigger later day overeating and binge eating and losing control with food, because now your blood sugar is going way the other way the second half of the day. So make sure you get this investigated. So I find for most of my clients, their thyroid stimulating hormone gets too elevated. And then, we end up with the weight gain, troubles losing, the achy joints and the achy wrists and ankles, more puffiness, especially below the chin and the face, your rings fitting tighter on your fingers, cold hands and feet, hair loss, eyebrow thinning, the loss of appetite, the irritability, the not feeling yourself, more PMS, irregular cycles. It really has an impact. So the TSH goes up, the pituitary is like producing too much of it. And then the thyroid gland struggles to produce enough T3, T4. And so then essentially what happens is we have a slowdown. And this can fuel the symptoms I'm talking about. And so from a weight standpoint, like I see the thyroid and the cortisol issue usually hand in hand together in about 80% of my clients. So many women have a thyroid issue and they're just being told, oh yeah, it's in your head, there's nothing wrong. Like, no, if you're having the symptoms, like I know you are an intelligent woman and I know you know your body. And yes, we can always get to know our bodies on a deeper level. However, I know you know that gut feeling when something feels off. And I want to stand for you and advocate for you not to let anyone convince you that it's in your head or there's nothing wrong or it's your age. You just have to accept this. It's just stress. That is not a good enough response. That is not, because you know in your heart of hearts and in your intuition or that gut feeling that something is off. And that cue from your body is never wrong. So I definitely encourage you to keep digging. Work with people who will advocate for you and hear you out and not tell you that it's age or stress or in your head, and that they will assess your health thoroughly. They will do testing. They will, see that the range is too big and take a more holistic approach. Like that's what I do with my clients every day. And I've heard so many stories, and my heart goes out to women who just like are not heard and are not, taken seriously when this is important. This is your health and well-being, right? So make sure that you find someone or are working with people who will advocate for you, because my thyroid stimulating hormone was in the normal range, but I was having all the symptoms, but there's a sweet spot that is normal and it was outside of that, right? So don't ignore your symptoms and don't let anyone convince you that it's in your head, because there's likely something going on and there's probably someone else that you may want to look at getting to support you on the journey, right? Food for thought. So the thyroid, when it's underactive, it will really skew our hunger levels. It will shut off our hunger cue to make us hungry. And then that can, like I said, make us assume that we don't need to eat, but we do need to eat enough. And the more we don't eat, the more we shut off that hunger cue and just assume that it's normal. So it's really important that we look at your thyroid and we look at your cortisol and we see what's going on with both of those. And then pertaining to like Hashimoto's, right? Like I've had clients come to me and we, look at what's going on with their results. And then it's like, okay, your thyroid is really off. Like, we should probably, check your antibodies and make sure that they're not elevated, because if they are, there may be an autoimmune component, there may be a Hashimoto's component going on. And the more elevated your antibodies are, your thyroid antibodies are, this can contribute to the body hanging on to protection. The body gets so inflamed, the body's having an immune response, it's attacking itself. In this case, the thyroid tissues. And so we want to rule out that as well. And I've had clients who their doctor refuses to do it, and then they like pay for the testing or whatever, and they have it. Sure enough, they're dealing with this issue. And it's like the doctor refused to test. Like, what's the problem here? Like, now we finally identified this bigger, deeper reason, and we can actually take steps to balance it. And rest assured, if you have Hashimoto's, if you have elevated thyroid antibodies, there's so much we can do to lower them. You're not to accept that they just stay high and you stay on a medication forever. It's like, no, why are the antibodies high? Heavy metals, poor gut flora, poor detoxification, liver issues, sluggish lymphatic system, emotional eating, binge eating, right? Like mindset, negative thoughts, lack of self-expression, frustration with body, all or nothing mentalities, perfection, overbooked schedules, people pleasing, right? Poor food intake. All of these things fuel inflammation, and that boosts up those antibodies if you have Hashimoto's. So we can deal with that. I've had clients with Hashimoto's come forth, and we've seen a significant drop. Like I had one client and hers were 350. And after, I think 9 months, we retested and they were like 100. That's a significant drop. And her doctor was like, what did you do? Like, this is impossible for this to happen. And it's like, no, when we address the roots, and we continue to work on lowering it past that. But that's just, one example. So rest assured, if that's going on for you, we can address that as well. Because we want the thyroid to function or come back to normal function. And the better care you take of yourself, the more you address and heal these roots, the easier it is for your body to come back into balance, right? Your body's always trying to heal. Like I say, it's just that you're by accidentally getting in the way, or you're not receiving the proper guidance, support, etc. So food for thought. So the next thing is estrogen dominance. So too much stress, inflammation, alcohol. Alcohol is so bad for estrogen levels and everything else everything in moderation. But if you're the kind of person that's having the glass of wine every night to relax, that's definitely adding up, right? Processed food intake, emotional eating, binge eating, toxic body care, again, all of the toxins that are put in body care, skincare, hair care, right? They all can increase estrogen. And too much soy. And if your progesterone plummets, which, like I said earlier, if your cortisol is really high, your body will start to steal and eat up progesterone to convert into cortisol to keep you functioning in this high stress response. And so when progesterone drops, estrogen can really rise up and contribute to the body wanting to hang on to excess protection. And this, of course, long-term can increase your chances of autoimmune issues and estrogen dominating cancers. And we don't want to go there, right? So if your breasts are tender before your cycle, if you're having night sweats, if you are gaining weight really easily and you can't lose it, these are potential signs of elevated estrogen. And there's others, but just to give you, an idea. And so that being said, we really want to investigate these. And again, with estrogen, like I've talked about, sometimes estrogen will look good on blood, but if it looks good on blood and you're still having symptoms and we're working through everything else, it's like, okay, let's do a saliva test, because saliva measures it measures what's in the tissues versus the blood, and that can be a different uptake. And then if there's a dominance, then we'll usually see it in the saliva test. So rest assured that can be done if need be. And if your estrogen and progesterone are both really low, then I find there's a lot of low energy, irregular cycles, fertility imbalance, right? Like the hot flashes, the night sweats, because there's too much of a deficiency. So very important to investigate estrogen. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about our hunger hormones, because these obviously play a huge role in obviously the hormones contributing to fueling weight gain and the connection between the nervous system and the appetite. So when our cortisol levels get really high, when the thyroid goes underactive, when we shut off that hunger hormone, right, your appetite can really diminish. And then you produce less ghrelin, and ghrelin is the hunger hormone that makes you hungry, and you produce more leptin and it makes you feel full sooner. And then you're not actually getting enough nourishment, and that can slow down your metabolism. So what I see with the connection between the nervous system and the appetite, the biggest though, is the cortisol. So if our cortisol levels are through the roof, then I find what ends up happening is, like I said, ghrelin is the hunger hormone that makes you hungry. It increases your appetite. It gives a signal to your stomach that it's empty almost and it's time to nourish, right? And just the body's so fascinating to me, like how everything communicates, because your hypothalamus communicates to the stomach that it's close to empty and needs food. And then you produce the ghrelin and it's supposed to give you that hunger signal. So if you're constantly in a stress response and you're constantly fatigued, your ghrelin levels may stay high. So high cortisol, lots of fatigue and stress, cortisol levels may stay, or sorry, ghrelin levels could stay really high. And then it makes you feel like you could eat all day and you end up too full. If you don't sleep well and then you feel like you have hollow leg syndrome and you like eat all day, this is because your ghrelin levels are being produced in too high of levels. And then your leptin, which makes you full, is produced in too low of levels. And then it makes it easier for you to think you need to keep eating. So obviously, if we're overeating all the time, this will contribute to the body hanging on to protection. If you're binge eating, again, being that it is an act of self-sabotage and self-hate, that puts so much stress and strain on the body. So I would say I probably see the cortisol too hungry. Another reason we're too hungry is you're not getting enough protein and fat with your good carbohydrates. You're not eating regularly through the day, right? The restriction, the diets, the being too busy and forgetting to eat, like all of that will play a role. But that's one of the biggest things that I see. So the more overwhelmed the nervous system, the more ghrelin we produce. Unless there's a thyroid issue going on, then we produce less ghrelin. You feel less hungry. But the more you get back to regular eating in the morning, etc., the faster your hunger signal will come back and you'll get back to regular ghrelin production. So like I said, leptin is the hunger hormone that makes you feel full. And it gets skewed when we're tired or have a history of emotional eating, binging and purging, or too much inflammation in the body. And this can lead to overeating because you lack awareness of what full feels like. You're too busy multitasking and or your system is producing too much leptin. Or sorry, opposite. Your system is not producing enough leptin, and then it makes you stay hungry and you don't feel satiated and it feels like you could keep eating. Part of the reason you're overeating is because you're not present, just sitting and eating mindfully, and you don't get the emotional satisfaction of like, oh, that was really good. I enjoyed that. I was present with that. Now I'm full. If you're not present, you finish it and like, oh, but that wasn't enough. Like I still want something else. That went too fast. And so the more present you are, the more you will feel emotionally satiated as well as physically satiated. And then if you really do need a little bit more, well, you can go and get it, right? So leptin and ghrelin really impact our appetite. And if our nervous system is really overwhelmed, then we end up either way too hungry, overeating on a regular basis, or we end up not eating enough the first half of the day because we're lacking an appetite hunger signal. And then usually we're overeating or eating too much the second half of the day because the blood sugar is starting to go off. And we have a massive spike and a massive drop, and then you get really hangry, right? And then you crave more carbs, more sugar, more salt potentially, and then you're feeling vulnerable and you're going to the I don't care mentality, and I'm like, I'm just going to eat whatever I want, and you go for the processed foods, and that fuels more imbalances with blood sugar, and you eat all the empty calories and you still feel hungry. So there's a huge connection between all of this as you're seeing. And obviously the more stress, the more anxiety, the more overwhelm you have, you then may want to numb and distract and shove down the emotion with food, right? You're chasing a dopamine hit, a dopamine high, because the eating of the food and the anticipation of eating the food gives you a pleasure response for a few minutes before that crashes too, right? So this is all very, very connected to our hormones, our nervous system, our appetite levels. And I find for the most part that if we're not looking at these roots, these symptoms continue, and then we just get hard on ourselves, and you get hard on yourself because you think there's something wrong with you, and why don't you have willpower, and why can't you just stop eating? And it's like there could be so much more going on. And with things like refined sugar, MSG, etc., right? Like they excite the same part of the brain as a hard drug, 10 times more addictive than cocaine. What you have to understand is the more you eat, the more you crave it, the more addicted you become, the more you want it, and the more our appetite levels increase. Like after a binge, our appetite levels increase up to 45% because the body thinks there's a famine coming, so I better eat as much as I can to survive if I don't have food for a week. But obviously, right here in North America or Europe or most countries, there is plenty of food. And if you don't have access to that, I'm so sorry, but it's like a lot of it's junk here though. It's not, there's like crappy chocolate at the bookstore. Like it's not nourishment, and that keeps throwing our blood sugar off, and it fuels our addiction, and it fuels the cravings, and it keeps the chasing of the dopamine high going. And that keeps impacting your hunger hormones, your appetite, feeling satiated or not feeling satiated. It overwhelms your nervous system when you eat too much processed food, too much caffeine, right? And then you feel guilty and you stress about what you just ate. All of that impacts your nervous system. And then all of that impacts your hormones and your appetite levels. So we see this deep connection between all of this, right? So now I want to, right? This is deep. So if you're loving this and you want to hear more, first off, last call, Hormone Havoc 2-day free masterclass is this February 23rd and 24th, Thursday and Friday this week. Make sure you either go to Instagram and follow me and click the link tree there, and you can enroll there, or you can click the link in the show notes. There's a banner and you can dive in for that. And then you'll have access to the replays for a week. So that's the step you can take to start addressing your hormone imbalances. I'm so excited for that 2 days. And I'm going to drop a little bonus something in there for everyone who comes and signs up. And I think you're going to really love it. So that's one thing you can do. Another step that you can take to start balancing your hormones is be aware of what your symptoms are. Is it abdominal weight gain? Is it low energy? Is it what cravings do you have? How's your sleep? Do you drink your 2 liters of water every day? Are you struggling with emotional eating or binge eating? Where are your stress levels at? Start to pay attention to these things. And if you're like, wow, everything's a mess, I just feel like overwhelmed, I don't know what to do, I have something I'll share with you right away that could be really helpful and really help you make the change. But be aware of your symptoms first. Look at your schedule. How much time is there for you? Yes, I know everyone's different. You may have a family, you have a job, you have a business, you may be in school. Like there's different dynamics going on. I don't discount that. However, we all can do to, spend less time on social media and watching TV and transmute some of that time into self-care time, getting to bed earlier, unplugging from screens, etc. So it's another first great place to start. Get your hormones tested. If your doctor won't do it or the person you're currently working with will not advocate for you, reach out and get someone else's help. If you want to reach out with me and talk about one-on-one support where we can do testing and have sessions and thoroughly assess everything, we can talk about that. And of course, there's the savings for the 4-month and 6-month program available. And if you also want to come in and you prefer to dive into Hormone Harmony, the 6-month group program, that is available as well. So I'm going to spend a few minutes talking about Hormone Harmony. You're going to hear about this for the next couple of weeks, of course, because enrollment is now open. I dropped this program last year for the first time and really enjoyed it. And the women who came along learned a lot. So Hormone Harmony is a 6-month group program to help you get to the roots of your unique hormone imbalances and create body freedom, because every single woman that I have worked with in one-on-one coaching has had significant hormone imbalances, of course, and the age does not matter. Maybe you just know something is off, but you can't seem to figure out what, or, maybe you've tried to get the testing done and you're not being advocated for, and you're just given the excuses that I was talking about earlier, the age thing, or it's stress, or it's just in your head, or maybe you did get testing done and they keep telling you everything is normal, right? Let me tell you, they're not good enough answers. If you're having symptoms, there's something going on. And remember, when we start working on hormone balance, it does take time to shift. There's no quick fix that is going to shift and heal all of this in a week. So keep that in mind. It's a journey that's going to take time, but the more you show up and the more committed you are and the more open-minded you are, the sooner you'll start gaining relief and seeing a shift. I have clients start to see improved energy levels, better sleep, right? And feel calmer after a few weeks. Some it takes longer. It just depends on your imbalances, what's going on, and how willing you are to take action, right? And understand what's really going on. So if you are ready to identify the root causes of your hormone imbalances for good and to have someone advocate you that will not question you and will walk beside you and support you, then this is what Hormone Harmony is all about. So this is a 6-month group program where I will help you identify your hormone imbalances. So you get a round of hormone testing, and location, it just will determine if you would get a requisition and go to the lab, or if your testing will come to your door and you do it at home. So location does not matter for this. We'll look at your stress levels, your relationship with food, mindset, negative thoughts, limiting beliefs, your relationship with your body and body image. We'll look at, okay, what are your physical symptoms? Are you having trouble losing weight? Are you gaining weight? Are you really fatigued? Are you having trouble with sleep? Do you have a lot of cravings? Is it PMS? Is it cycle issues, fertility issues, menopause symptoms? Is it brain fog, irritability? Maybe your mood feels really off and you're having anxiety. We'll look at your gut health, right? Do you have skin breakouts, eczema, psoriasis? These are all potential signs of hormone imbalances. And as we go through this and we start to support your body, your energy levels improve, your digestion gets better, the skin clears, the clothes start to fit looser, your rings fit better because the retention is leaving your body, right? This is what this is all about. And also in the program, like, not only will we address your hormone imbalances, and I'll give you specific recommendations via foods, teas, spices, as well as self-care tools and nervous system calming tools. If you're struggling with emotional eating, we will work on helping you overcome emotional eating and building self-love in the program. We will build a beautiful self-care routine that works for each one of you individually to help you regulate your nervous system. We will create a mindful eating practice so you can digest better. We're going to help you support better digestion and make sure your bowels are working properly and that you're detoxifying well. You're going to learn what best way to eat is for you. We're going to deal with the negative self-talk. We're going to deal with the ego. And we're going to really understand the root causes of what's going on for each one of you individually with your hormone imbalances. If you're an empath and you're sensitive to energy, we're going to work on that. So there's so many different things that will be part of this program. And you get to be in a safe space with other like-minded women. We're also on a healing journey. You all get to learn from each other. You're not alone. And it's so beautiful to raise each other up while receiving a high level of support with me. So like I said, you get 1 round of hormone testing, 1 45-minute private coaching session to have an assessment, health assessment, and review results and receive recommendations via email afterward. Once the program starts, we'll have 6 months of Voxer together in the group where you can ask questions, receive coaching and support. And then each month we will have 1 90-minute live group session, and we will go into all the different topics of the program. If you want to read through each individual topic each month, you can click the link at amberprove.ca, and it'll give you all the details there. And then we have 1 60-minute group Q&A session each month to ask questions, receive hot seat one-on-one coaching, and get guidance. And so all of this is recorded, and you will get to access this program forever after we're done. So if you can't make a session live or you want to go back and watch something, you will be able to. And there's worksheets and there's all kinds of different, like, things, resources, tools that I will give to you as being part of this program, right? So it's a very holistic, very streamlined, very empowering way to start and take a lot of beautiful steps at your pace, of course, to create hormone harmony for yourself. So I want you to ask yourself, who could you be if you felt peace of mind knowing what was going on with your body and your hormones? Your energy levels significantly improved. You no longer kept waking in the night. You had full mental clarity. You got rid of the PMS and painful periods. Your skin cleared, the bloating started to resolve, and the body finally started to let go of the protection. You felt more connected, more in tune with her, and your confidence is boosted. How would that feel? How would that feel? It feels amazing, and I want that for you. You may want to journal on that. You may want to pause this and journal on that. But I want to read a bit of a success story from one of the attendees from last year who came and really enjoyed the program. Dorothy, bless her heart, she was such a sweetheart. And she said, after taking Hormone Harmony, with all the information, I feel I've conquered most of the undesirable hormone, gut, and bowel symptoms and low self-esteem I started with. I've taken time to start building self-care to love and approve of myself and my body the way it is. I feel I'm on a more solid foundation to continue on my personal journey in life, and I'm amazed at your constant support for each and every one of us. The constant flow of information you have blows my mind. It was just wonderful. That's what she had to say. So this is very powerful. So if you're wanting to come forth and you are wanting to get all the juicy bonuses, the early bird savings, and an additional little gift to celebrate episode 400 of the podcast, let me give you all the juicy details. Okay. So essentially, the program is regularly $2,222 USD. Right now, early bird pricing is $1,555 USD. Okay. So you get to save like over $600 US. Okay. So $1,555 USD. Now, to celebrate episode 400, I'm also gifting you an additional $111 USD off. So it's going to be $1,444 if you enroll by or before or by March 9th, essentially. Okay. So when you go to checkout, use code HORMONES, all caps, and it will take the $111 off. And you can use that for any of the payment plan options. So you get everything that I mentioned earlier, plus you get early bird bonuses. So you get 6 months free access to the Body Freedom membership, which is valued at over $400. And that's going to help you with your mindset, regulation of your nervous system, integrating even more self-care tools. You will also get free access to my 5-week self-study emotional eating program to help you gain more traction with emotional eating. And you're also going to get free access to Food Prep Magic Digestion, the replay, which is going to give you lots of tips and tricks around food prep recipes, grocery lists, make it super easy for you to add more variety into your food and help support better gut health, which is going to help you on this program. So as soon as you sign up, you'll get access to all 3 of those bonuses, which is valued at over $1,000. As well, you're going to get the early bird savings and the $111 USD off. Okay. And then the last thing I'm going to share with you is that, of course, we have payment plans available. So you're going to see the regular Hormone Harmony pay in full, $1,555. Use the code all caps hormones for $111 off. So $1,444. You're also going to see a VIP option. So this means you get everything I've just mentioned, plus an additional hormone retest, and an additional 45-minute follow-up session, month 6, when we're wrapping up the program, to do a retest and track your progress and see how far you've come. So if you want to do the VIP option, it's $19.99 USD paid in full, or you can use the code. So it's $18.88 right now. Okay. Otherwise, you can split the payment in half for the regular investment. So 2 payments of $778. Again, you can use that $111 USD code, or you can do monthly payment plan, $260 USD a month. And of course, you can use the code for that too. So that gives you all the details. I just wanted to spend some time really breaking down this program. It's very powerful. It's very informative. Enrollment is open. There's only 10 spots. I guarantee you it's going to sell out, and it could sell out really fast. So don't delay. If you know you want the bonuses, you want the savings, you know you want to be in for this round because it won't be offered again until next, 2024 winter, make sure that you go to amberapproved.ca. You'll be able to click the banner right on the homepage. It'll direct you to sign up. If you have questions, if you are like, I'm intrigued by this, and I also, have some questions, well, I welcome you to come forth and just send me an email at info@amberapproved.ca, just saying, hey, I have questions, and I'm happy to hop on a 15-minute Zoom call with you, answer your questions, and help you give clarity if you need it, okay, to see if this is the right fit for you. So 10 spots, they will go fast. Make sure you claim your spot if you want it. I'm really excited because as soon as you sign up, I will be in contact with you within 24 hours to get your details, to arrange your hormone test and book your 45-minute one-on-one session so that we can get those results back and start taking the steps. So we can start that before the program even starts. And the program starts March 15th. Yeah, March 15th. Otherwise, whenever you sign up, we'll get into getting you answers. So I'm really excited to support you, guide you, help you get the answers and the clarity, and then the support for 6 months. It's one thing to do a test and get recommendations, but it's another that to then follow through with building consistency and building the self-care routine and healing your relationship with food and changing some of your habits and mindset. That's the stuff that most people fail at because they don't have the long-term support and accountability. And that's why I designed this program to be spread over 6 months. So we get to be together until July, which is super exciting. July, August, yes, the summer. So I hope you have enjoyed today's episode. The show notes and all the details of the giveaway and everything I've talked about today can be found at amberapproved.ca/podcast/400. If you want to come forth and sign up for Hormone Harmony, the 6-month hormone group program, amberapproved.ca, just click the banner. It will take you to sign up. If you want to, explore if you're struggling with emotional eating and take the free emotional eating quiz, that is also available at amberapproved.ca. And of course, you can book a 30-minute body freedom or biz freedom consultation if you want to connect via Zoom for 30 minutes and talk about the healing journey and explore whether one-on-one or hormone harmony might be a better fit. And let's get you on that journey. And as I always say, there's no better time than right now, the present, to take action on your health, your hormones, your transformation. So take action now. Have a beautiful day, a great week. I'm so grateful for you all. I hope you all entered the giveaway. I can't wait to give away those lovely, lovely offers to you. And I will look so forward to sharing a whole new episode with all of you next Sunday. And here's to the next 400 episodes.